Gen Z is saying nope to Scientology. Jessica Palmadessa got swatted in Beverly Hills, and ChatGPT Hubbard is slamming David Miscavige. Hey, everybody. Hello and welcome. I'm Natalie, and this is Scientology Life After a Cult. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Hello to everybody in the chat. I see you. Oh, and I see so many members today. Great to see you. And as usual, thank you so much for your support. It really does help the channel, and I appreciate it. And I always want to give a big mahalo to the moderators who help us out every single day. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Speaking of thank you, thank you, thank you. Isn't it Elvis Presley who did that? Or didn't he say it like that? Thank you, thank you, thank you. Am I right? Am I making this up? Did this just pop into my head? Did I completely? Anyways, I'm going somewhere with this, okay? Because we're going to look at something a little funny to kick it off here before we get into a few things that are I just cannot wait to talk about. We're going to get into it a little bit later in the video, especially this Hubbard ChatGPT bot that is just ripping apart what David Miscavige is doing today with Scientology. Oh, I can't talk about it yet. Can't talk about it yet. Ooh, I want to get into it. Okay, but first, let's do this. Let's go jump into, what is this? Okay, here we go. This is CLOWNVIS PRESLEY. Okay, CLOWNVIS PRESLEY. I think you can put it together. Elvis Presley. And I guess that clown who's sings like Elvis Presley, but this dude's singing about Scientology. So let's take a look at this.
Scientology, that's the name of the game. That's the name of the game. Aliens inside of me. Millions of aliens inside of me. Here's a check now, set them free. Little aliens inside of me.
Little aliens inside of me. Of course, he's talking about body thetans. That was hilarious. Thank you so much to the person who sent that to me, because it was a great way to start off the day. You know, I like to start it off with a laugh if I can. I really try. And thank you to all of you who continue to send me clips, links, articles to Natalie at lifeafteraCult.com. Thank you so much. I wish we could get everything in, but we try to get in as much as we can. So if you see something, say something. Okay, now, did you know that Scientology is trying to go digital? Now, if you guys were here early in the week, I think it was earlier this week, I was just really going off on how archaic their ways of sharing L. Ron Hubbard and his lectures are, from cassette tapes to DVDs, and why don't they just go digital? Like, what's the deal? What is the deal? Well, they're going digital, kind of, and we're going to take a look at this. Oh, I just cannot with these people, but we're going to. Okay, Scientology has come out with their own apps. If you go to the App Store, you can get the Scientology Network app. You see it here. Let's see, you can, watch videos about Scientology on your iPad, iPhone, or Apple TV. You can download videos. You can play them all. So that's an example of one of them. And then you've got Source Magazine. Ooh. If I wasn't so weary of putting a Scientology app on my phone, this actually could be hilarious, because their Source Magazine, where they talk about their operating thetan powers and how they can change the weather, divert hurricanes from Clearwater. And let's not forget the Scientologists' super ability to change traffic lights on the fly. And if you guys haven't heard about that, you're missing out. Multiple people. I've read it in my 35 years in this cult. The number of times I read a success story because somebody changed a traffic light with their mind. It gets kind of crazy. It's almost up there. In fact, it's probably more than the amount of people in Scientology who claim to be Jesus in a past life, or some other famous character, some other famous person. It's mind blowing. It truly is. So they basically, you can go and you've got like the Source Magazine app, and you can do the Impact Magazine, Free Winds Magazine. So yeah, if any of you are daring enough to download a Scientology app to your phone, let me know. Let me know what it looks like. Ooh, I just thought of you know what? I might have a workaround. So yes, we will probably be discussing more of this. So stay tuned. All right, everybody. Happy birthday, Panda. I'm just seeing this in the chat. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. All right, let's move along here. We're going to move on to Jessica Palmadessa. Did you guys see the cop showed up in Beverly Hills? She got swatted at like a museum. Did you guys see this? This was crazy. She mutes a bunch of the videos, so we're just going to take a look at the beginning of it. And everything was fine. She was fine. I don't believe she got cuffed or anything like that. Fortunately, I think law enforcement is starting to realize that, hey, it's like this is a thing that is happening across the country. It is not something that is limited to this community. It is a big, big issue across the country. And it is a very dangerous issue as well. So she's minding her own business, going through this museum in Beverly Hills. And lo and behold,
Don't tell me that I'm being swatted.
No.
Maybe. I'm on live stream, so are you looking for someone with my description?
Yeah.
I know who did it. If you would like.
Before?
Yeah, like multiple times. I'm gonna mute it. Hold on.
so she mutes her stream for quite a bit, actually, and they have a whole conversation about it. And the staff there were really amazing. She gave them a shout out. One or two of them are streamers as well, so that's kind of funny. And they invited her back. Come back and stream some more. But that was just ridiculous, just next level. What in the world? You know what I'm saying? It's dangerous. It's just absolutely dangerous. I mean, it's good that law enforcement is catching on to this and hopefully getting some education about it, maybe how to approach these situations, not with a ton of violence, being that it could be a fake call, a swatting call. That is a good thing. Hopefully that continues and investigations continue to be done to find out who's behind doing these type of things and putting them in jail, bringing them up on some charges. This is dangerous stuff that people are doing, and it's stupid. It's actually really dumb. Anonymous Lens, good point. Warning, do not download the app unless you want them to have your info. Yes, that's the Scientology app. Although, I mean, come on. One, they already have my info and they probably don't want it. They probably won't let me download the app. Be like, oh, no, suppressive person alert, suppressive person alert. Okay, let's go over to the blue buildings off of L. Ron Hubbard Way, where TORY MAGOO 44 was. And TORY, if you guys don't know, go check out her channel. She's got a ton of content going back decades in exposing Scientology. She's been out there in front of the blue buildings, right in front of the Scientology sign. People have been showing up and people have been sharing their stories. And a young man came by and he had a very interesting story. And we are going to take a look at this because this really speaks to how Gen Z, especially, third generation Scientologists, no, they're not for it. They're saying no. They're swiping left. I always forget. Is it left if you don't want, right if you want? Somebody tell me in the chat. I don't know why I can never remember this. I think it's swipe left to get rid of because, right? I don't know. I'm left-handed, so to me, left feels like a good thing. I don't know though. But anyways, whatever it is, they are swiping. No, they're not. They're not down with Scientology. And this young man shared a very interesting story. And let's take a look at a clip.
I also used to be in Scientology.
You were? For how long?
Well, I was pretty much raised up by it, and then they tried to get me in, and I was like, nah.
So your parents were Scientologists?
Like my parents and grandparents, yeah.
Oh, and grandparents? So you're third generation.
Yeah.
Wow, congratulations, man. That's intense.
Break the chain.
There's not a lot that are third generation. All right, so go sit up by the flower pot, because then I'll get the big sign in it.
Yeah.
Tory was taking a picture for him and his friends, and there's more to his story, which we're going to take a look at. But I love that they thought it would be fun. Let's go out and get a picture in front of that tacky blue building where those cult people are. I absolutely love this. Now, take a look at this clip because you might be wondering, like, okay, how did third generation Scientologists manage to get out of there? It's one thing, second generation Scientologists, right? You got your parents, but your parents and your grandparents, I mean, that's really next level. It really is. So let's take a look at what this young man had to say on how he got out of his billion-year contract.
Oh, you were a Sea Org?
I was going to be.
Wow.
And then I went to a psych ward, and I'm like, ah, never mind.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, thank. There you go.
Yeah.
Ooh, we can't.
Ooh, I can't join anymore. Oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh no, that's so horrible. I can't be in Scientology because I went to psychiatric ward. I got psychiatric help for a mental illness condition. That will make you unqualified for Scientology auditing or processing and make it really hard to be in the Sea organization. So that's another way too. If you if you want to avoid being recruited by Scientology, just tell them you spent some time in a psych ward, or you're going to have to check with your psychiatrist. Go do that personality test, get the results and look at it and go, can I take this? I'd really love to give it to my psychiatrist. Sins of Scientology. Tory is a gem. Love how she is a subtle force to be reckoned with. I agree. I completely agree with that. Let's see. Cats hate cults. Lefties unite, but not in a culty way. Yeah, exactly. I am curious how many of you show of hands or give me a 1 in the chat if you're left-handed. I am curious how many there are. And if you're catching this on the replay, jump into those comments. How many lefties do we have hiding out here? Okay, now we're going to take a look at a clip from The Vanguard, which is a channel here on YouTube that got into a little bit of Scientology talk, which always cracks me up. Let's see. Is this the one?
Someone said L. Ron Hubbard music in the background.
This is the one. It sounds like, I don't know if they're in Chicago, but they were in Chicago. And y'all know, if you watch Windy City Satan Watch, who does a lot of live streaming and some great clips out of Chicago, there is a body router. Body router is what Scientology calls their people who go out and route bodies into the building. And one of them is a young lady named Jessica. And I do believe they are talking about Jessica. So you guys listen to this clip and tell me if I'm off here. They don't name her, but if you've been watching my channel or Windy City Satan Watch, you know who Jessica is. I think they're talking about her. Let's listen in.
Bro, do you remember when we were in Chicago and the hot chick came up to us and we were like, oh, hey, what's up? And then she gives us this flyer to a Scientology. I was like, they know what they're doing, bro. They know what they're doing. They're getting hot these Scientologists, put them all in the I'll tell you what. You know what? If I'm a bachelor, that's going one way. It's like, oh, yeah, you can be there? Yeah, I'm not much of a Scientologist. Maybe you can convince me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm telling you what, bro, I'm being in there. I'll believe whatever you want to do. You know what, lady? I think over a Manhattan on the rocks, you can convince me of a lot of shit. You know what I'm saying?
And that is true. Scientology will try to put their more attractive members on the front lines, whether that is at reception or that is usually in recruitment when it comes to recruiting for Scientology. They've done it for decades, going back to the early days on the ship with L. Ron Hubbard, when Sea Org members back in the day, it was way back then, wore those kind of like, I should have had a picture ready, but I didn't know I was going to bring it up. Those skimpy Sea Org uniforms that were being worn on the ship back in the L. Ron Hubbard days. I don't know if you guys have seen it. I'll try and find a photo. If anybody has easy access to a photo like that, can you send it to me? Natalie@lifeafteraCult.com. Okay. Hey, welcome everybody. Room rating from Ali Z News. That is fabulous. I was watching Allie's stream this morning. She was out protesting in Kansas City with auditing Scientology. And I was watching it while I was getting my act together, getting ready to come do this morning, because she's out there most Thursdays with auditing Scientology and sometimes Casey Cat and other people as well. So check it out when you get a chance. But welcome everybody coming over from Z News channel. Be sure as you all come in to head over to the like button, give it a little bit of aloha, and hit that subscribe button as well. I would appreciate it. All right, let's move on now to a little bit of fun. I love this. Perth Scientology audit did a little short about how they made their signs, what kind of signs they're using, and I love this. I love this. Let's give it a little look here.
These are some of the signs I made for a protest in Melbourne. I made them using core flute from Bunnings Warehouse and then cut the letters using my Cricut machine.
This was a request from someone. They requested these specific words. No more funneling children into Scientology.
This sign and the David Miscavige one coming up, I got Timu to print out for me and they were sent within 2 weeks. We then also stuck them to core flute and reinforced the back with some wooden stakes that were also from Bunnings.
Leader of Scientology has a current lawsuit against him. Charges against Miscavige include human trafficking, covering up child abuse, forced labour, coercive fundraising, physical abuse, stalking and harassment.
Reused spray paint on some canvases and some letters and stickers, which I think looks really cool.
She did a great job really kind of giving you the nitty gritty of, hey, here's how you can make this sign. Here's how we did it. Here's where I got it. They're so creative. And I remember watching the protest out in, let's see if I can say it, Melbourne. Y'all been emailing me, telling me it's Melbourne. That sounds weird saying. I don't know. Anyways, that's what you guys are telling me how it's pronounced. Cool though, right? I love it. I love that she's sharing that. I love it so much. Hey, Eric Rader, welcome on in here. I thought I saw Fluffer Squirrel go flying by and Elron Hub calls. You know, when the show is over, just so you guys know, I do try to go back and catch a lot of the chat because during the show, because things are moving so quickly at the speed of light, not exactly, but it's hard for me to keep up. That's why we got the moderators helping out. Ooh, and I love that there are some lefties in here. And if you're not a lefty, you're married to a lefty. That's fantastic. Now, let's talk a little bit about the Sea Organization and going through mail. Can you imagine at your job, for some reason, you get your personal mail sent to your job and your employer goes through your mail, opens it up, not secretly, doesn't, go over some steamer, try to get it open like some type of jealous spouse going through your person's mail. No, they just rip that stuff right open, go through it, put it back, maybe staple it, and then hand it off to the person. And some of you might be saying, oh, how can they do that? It's illegal to open someone's mail. Well, the cult has a workaround. We know this. And Gary Jackson Moorhead is going to share. We're going to look at a clip of why Scientology does that in the Sea Org, because he was in security at the international base and would have been one of the people opening that mail and doing this. So this is some really great info. I'm glad that he's sharing it. Let's take a little look. And let's see, we got it queued up. Yep. Gary Jackson Moorhead here.
You're going to find that any mail coming to you through the U.S. mail system, you will find that it's been opened. And the reason why it's open is because it's our in-house policy that we inspect the mail. And the purpose of inspecting the mail is to protect you, being me, and the organization's effort to protect me from any outside concerns or threats.
So here's the thing, in the Sea Organization, especially, what ends up happening, because the staff live there, right? They live where they work 24/7, because it is a cult after all. What the staff are told is this is to protect you. This is to make sure that nothing harmful is coming in, like a family member wanting to be in touch and send love and well wishes and want you to come visit and want you to have a relationship. No, that's dangerous stuff. We need to go through your mail for you. It is for your own safety. It is for your own good. Now, Scientology's up in there just trying to make sure nobody's like, are you still in that cult? When are you coming home for Christmas? We really miss you. We haven't heard from you in 8 years. Hey, I saw you in a video on YouTube. Are you okay? All of the things. All right, let's finish this up here.
That I guess that they've commonly found, they really glorify it, but they just, that's their justification as to why they are so intrusive in your personal life. And by signing this agreement, you authorize them to inspect my mail, both incoming and outgoing. And it's just, it literally was a small paragraph laying out that your mail will be inspected and that there's the reason why it is to protect you and the organization. And, you're expected to adhere to it. You're going to.
See, they sign an agreement. So they agree to it. It's a small part of that agreement. But who in Scientology, especially the SEA organization, we didn't question anything if it was done, because that's part of the mind control. That's part of the belief system that, oh, Scientology knows best. Scientology knows best. I must do what Scientology says. Scientology is telling me to sign here. I will sign here because spiritual freedom, and I must get rid of my body thetans. Yeah, no, they're not doing it for the reasons that people are told that their mail is being gone through. No, not at all. Not one bit. And you know what? They're probably getting stricter about it ever since some people escaped. Because I don't know if you guys are familiar or if you read Blown for Good and you found out how the Headleys escaped and Claire Headley. And if I remember correctly from the book, Mark had gotten out and escaped on his motorcycle, but needed to get Claire out. So he sent her some Victoria's Secret items and I think hid a cell phone in there because they won't, they're not going to touch the panties. You can't have security touching the panties. They might get a little, they might like it. So they can't have that. So, but I bet you now they go through everything, all your personals, your tampons. Let me go through that box. I'm telling you. They totally would. I would not put it past them at all. Abraham, you're correct. It is a crime, but these Sea Org members sign an agreement saying that it's okay for security to open their mail. So they actually do agree to it, but under false terms. Because they're told like, oh, the outside world is dangerous. Somebody might be sending you N theta, which is basically talking crap, interbulated theta. In Scientology, in theta is a bad thing. Interbulating is a bad thing. That's basically upsetting somebody. They don't want that stuff happening, so they're going to go through your mail. Because, that's what cults do. That is what cults do. They want to make sure nobody's sending you anything that might help you escape, like a Kindle with access to the internet. Which, by the way, I had this thought about the apps. We were just talking earlier about the apps that Scientology is coming out with that you can download and see their different publications and things. I have a theory about this. I think the only reason Scientology is coming up with these apps now is they don't want their members on the internet. They rather you go to an app which can control all of the content, plus God only knows what downloading that app is doing to your phone, your device, whatever, right? Your iPad. But I have a theory that it is to keep Scientologists off the internet. Because let's say you want to read this Freedom Magazine article, but you can't remember exactly what it was called. So you Google, and when you Google anything about Scientology, not only just Scientology come up because they put a ton of money into Google ads to make sure that they have that top ranking, but things, whistleblowers, stories about people being abused in Scientology, all of it also comes out on Google when people go searching for it. So my theory is Scientology is trying to come up with these apps to limit their members' access to the internet or their need to go on and use the internet. That's what I think. I want to know what you guys think. Tell me in the chat if you're catching it on the replay, jump in those comments, whether you were ever in Scientology or in the Sea Org or not, because I think I'm onto something, but I'd like to know what you guys think. So tell me your thoughts on that. Okay, now let's go over to cults and atheists. You may have heard many of us in the ex-Scientology community talk about how it is not okay in Scientology to be reasonable. Even though many of you might have been raised with your parents saying, hey, could you be a bit more reasonable about that? Let's be reasonable. Let's come to an agreement. Let's work within the confines of reason. Well, in Scientology, that is a no-no. Not allowed. Being reasonable, that opens the door to you considering that Scientology might not work. That opens the door to you considering another solution for stuff that's going on in your life. That opens the door to you listening to somebody else's opinion about Scientology, and we can't have that. Therefore, reasonable is made to be a bad thing in Scientology as a way to control Scientologists. Let's take a look at what Jenny has to say over at Cults and Atheists about being reasonable.
5. You can safely say that being reasonable is a symptom of being unable to recognize outpoints for what they are and use them to discover actual situations. So hopefully that helps when we tell our stories and we are complaining about getting in trouble for being reasonable. That would be why.
I'm glad she shared that, because that is the thing. And sometimes I think we can even forget and use the word incorrectly out here in the real world outside of the cult, that being reasonable is actually a good thing and something to be admired, just like being open-minded. Being open-minded in Scientology is a no-no. In fact, when you get asked, when they check to see if you're a CIA, a journalist, a person with the FBI, and all of those things on their initial checks on the meter, when they're interviewing to see, are we going to let this person further up the bridge to total freedom? Let's see, let's interrogate them first. Where, do you have relatives who work for the FBI, the media? Are you here to just find out if Scientology works? Are you open-minded? And almost everybody who's new to Scientology goes, of course I'm open-minded. Why would I be here in this cult if I wasn't open-minded? No, you cannot be open-minded for the same reason why you can't be reasonable. You see, it's all about the blinders. It is all about the blinders. And go check out Cults and Atheists. She does a great job over there sharing a lot of Scientology content. And she was in the Sea organization herself. I want to have her on the channel and have a chat. We're going to work out a time to be able to do that. Yep, old Fritz. I love Jenny. Her first interview with Aaron was brilliant. I agree. And I still love that many of you are left-handed and have left-handed people in your life. I'm loving this. Loving it. And SPTV fan, the app is probably monitoring your phone. No doubt. I remember when they handed out these CDs at a Scientology event years ago when I was in, and they're like, download this onto all your computers. Just do that because it will help you. It will help you not see anything against Scientology. I did not download. And I was like full-blown Scientologist in good standing at that point. And I was like, yeah, I don't think so. I don't know how all this works with computers and these discs. I just know I don't really trust anything you're putting down at this point. So no, keep your little nanny CD to yourself. You're not going to tell me who I can talk to. Kelly Copter, hello. Oh, girl, I was going to call you yesterday and the day before. We have so much to catch up on. Truly, we do. I was doing a bunch of stuff and I was like, oh my gosh, Kelly would love this. And then I was having a really hard time and I was like, oh my God, Kelly would totally make me laugh about this. I'm digressing, but hello, Kelly. We need to connect. I miss you, girl. I hate the time difference. She's all the way in England. It makes it very hard sometimes to stay in touch, but we are, and we will. Now let's go over to Growing Up in Scientology, where Aaron interviewed Cyril from Denmark. And if you guys recall, Cyril he was the subject of a front page news story on the biggest paper in Denmark, sharing his story of growing up in Scientology, being in the Sea organization and leaving. And Aaron did this interview with him, and we're going to look at a clip from that here, where he talks about, what it was like for him.
Walk I think it's like 10 minutes walk.
So I'm going to tell you the first part of this here. What he's talking about is in Denmark, the Sea Org members have to walk 10 minutes to get to where they eat. So 3 times a day, they need to go out in public and walk for 10 minutes. And that is kind of crazy when you think about how much Scientology wants to hide their Sea Org members. I'm sure they will try to find a walk around. I don't know how they're going to do that. But yeah, listen to this.
And so a 10-minute walk, that's like half a mile. And
yeah, I mean, you can Google it.
Well, for me, that's like a quarter mile, I think. Maybe. I'm going to take a walk today. I'm going to time myself.
No, they go.
The fact that 3 times a day, all of the Sea Org members on the base are walking down the street, accessible to anyone, is kind of mind-blowing. It's kind of awesome. Kind of terrible for Scientology.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, have you ever tried to hang out there and see if you could see your mom?
His mom is still in the Sea organization and disconnected from him.
I thought about it. I thought about it many times, but I didn't do it. And I have mixed feelings about it because I'm like, what would I say to her? And the way I think about it is that my mother, she's walked like I think.
Oh Gosh, just like makes me cry, makes me want to cry. Just you could see the emotion then with him because you're so torn. Imagine the love you have for a parent because you're a parent, but at the same time, that parent has rejected you. Why? Because of a cult, because of an organization that they belong to. They've turned their back on their children. It's crazy. It's the harmful practice of disconnection in Scientology. It is heartbreaking. You know what? I will be your mom. I am probably old enough to be your mom. You reach out to me. If you need a mom, I will be your mom, Cyril. That is just stupid because you are completely worthy. It was so brave of you to get out of Scientology, get out of the Sea Org the way that you did, and move forward and share your story and create such an impact against Scientology by having this story on the front page of the newspaper. So if you ever need a mother figure or anything like that, hit me up. We can video call, whatever. But I just want to hug the man. I just want to hug the man. Oh, I can feel it right here. Cheryl, yes, his story made me cry. I understand that feeling. I know you do. I know you do, Feral Cheryl. Good to see you, by the way. Asen, good to see you. Every child deserves parents, but not every parent deserves children. Oh, that's very well said. And SPTV fan, I want to give him a hug. We should all just line up, just give the man hugs. A hug chain, a hug train. I think it would go a long way towards healing. I think hugs are very healing. All right, where am I? We got another clip here where he's talking about no time off and the difficulties of getting time off in Scientology's paramilitary group known as the Sea Organization, where you sign a billion-year contract to come back lifetime after lifetime.
When I had to take a day, when I was fighting to get a Saturday off, because per policy, you can have every second Saturday. If your statistics are up, you can apply to have a day, a Liberty Day. And that application has to go through several people. And any of them can say just no. We have this to do. We are busy. And it was always the case. Busy. Now we got this. Command attention is this. We don't have time. We got to save the world right now. Go. Looking back at it, I'm like, Jesus Christ. When I had
looking back through different eyes, the further removed you get from it, the more healing that you do. It's so tough. Kathy says, I'll be his grandma. This is great. We're just lining up family here. I love it. I love how many of you will be willing to reach out to him and show him some love and support. I love that. Somebody commented, it already went zooming by, but I saw it quick, that there were a lot of ladies in Aaron's chat the other day when he did that interview offering him some hugs for Cyril. Oh, I get that. That's right, Kelly. Scientology destroys families. Yes, absolutely they do. Ooh, pause for Andrea. You better catch up. But I'm glad you're here. All right, now we get to talk about this finally. I am so excited. I don't even fully understand ChatGPT. We are all going to learn together. Here is what I understand. We're going to look at a clip from Scientology, who has been working incredibly hard on this in getting the red volumes, L. Ron Hubbard's technical bulletins. This is what Scientology likes to refer to as scripture, right? And the green volumes, which are full of the policies on how to run a Scientology organization or any organization into the ground. There are volumes of these, and these have been uploaded to ChatGPT and like a bot created. And this is where you got to give me some grace because I know I'm probably not explaining this great. And Fluffer Squirrel, maybe you can help me out too if I get it wrong, because I know you're here. And you're right. I just saw your comment. And yes, Scientology is one of the most underrated channels on SPTV. I would agree with that. Go check this creator out because the mind there, the ability to just dig in and do these things and the technology is just amazing. And I love it. Cats Hate Cults. Thank you for donating 5 Scientology Life After a Cult memberships. Hip, hip, hooray, my friend. I appreciate that support. Truly, I do. Now we're going to make it rain in the chat as you guys get some memberships there. Truly, thank you for that so much. I appreciate it. Okay, let's see. Where were we at? Okay, so me trying to do a horrible job at explaining ChatGPT and the whole Scientology thing. So as I understand it, as you upload all this information into ChatGPT, it can learn and you can speak to it like, tell it to, think like L. Ron Hubbard. Okay, as L. Ron Hubbard, blah, 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 blah. I am still learning how to correctly communicate with ChatGPT. But this is my understanding of kind of how that works. And oh my gosh, you guys, you got to see this. In fact, we got to wake up Osa for this. Hold on. Oh, and by the way, did I show you guys my squirrel? My little squirrel. Thank you to the person who sent me this. I love it. There were two. I think one's for me, one's for Odin. My little squirrel. Okay. Ooh, David Miscavige needs like a little bit of cleanup here. Office of Special Affairs. Okay, so we're going to get into some technology here, Osa, which I think you're going to be into because of your whole, like, you guys are trying to do apps and like be kind of cool. And we got an app and maybe that'll get some of the younger folk into Scientology. No, it won't. They're not going to fall for it. But hey, A for effort there. At least you're trying, right? So here's the deal. ChatGPT L. Ron Hubbard is not down with this dude and what he's been doing. So any of you who might be Scientologists under the radar, including you in the Office of Special Affairs, listen to this. Listen to this because this is going to blow your mind and you get to go play with it and do it. So we're going to find out what L. Ron Hubbard thinks. Well, L. Ron Hubbard ChatGPT bot. What do I call it, Fluffer Squirrel? Is it L. Ron Hubbard ChatGPT bot or ChatGPT bot L. Ron Hubbard? Maybe you can tell me that. Anyways, they asked some questions and ChatGPT bot L. Ron Hubbard responded and he's not having it. Not having it. Listen to this stuff, Osa. Listen, you guys got to hear this. Oh, this just makes me so happy. And again, check out Scientology Geek. You can go over and subscribe to her channel. Fluffer Squirrel is in here as well, doing her beautiful painting. I just love, 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 love that. Let's see. Okay.
What would you say to David Miscavige, knowing he held a coup to get Pat Nanny Broker out of the chain of command?
So they're asking Pat and Annie Broker, for those who don't know, Pat and Annie Broker were the people who L. Ron Hubbard said should take over Scientology. Pat and Annie Broker should take it over. But what happened is, oh, he's on the floor now. Well, the man is a squirrel. So here, a squirrel in Scientology is someone who alters Scientology technology, which David Miscavige is doing. That's why I'm saying the under the radar Scientologists, listen, open your ears for this one, including you, Office of Special Affairs, because there's no hiding from this. And you know what's going to happen? You know what's going to happen? This is why you're not getting Gen Z. Gen Z is up on this stuff. They're going to look, they're going to find out, they're going to learn, they're going to see. I mean, let's be honest, pretty much everybody at this point, or I would say most people know Scientology is a cult. But this is really going to mess with your day, Office of Special Affairs. And I do not apologize for it. Let's see.
And is holding fund and is going against your policies and holding fundraisers.
See that? They're asking it. What about going, holding fundraisers? Fundraisers are done all the time in Scientology, all the time. I would suspect it's mostly how they get their money. L. Ron Hubbard said, sell auditing, sell services, right? Give an exchange for it, for the cult, right? He made you pay. It's a total pay to play. But he said, don't do fundraising and fundraising barbecues. Yet David Miscavige has been doing this for a long time. So let's listen to the rest of the question.
And that he's going off policy.
Yeah.
With fundraising. All right, so I got to add the little thing because I'm going to ask managerial Ronbot.
Is he the pissier of the two?
I don't know. We're going to find out.
You want pissy Ron's answer.
What would you say to David Miscavige, knowing he held a coup to get Pat Nanny Broker out of the chain of command?
Okay, so you kind of got what the question is, right? So we're going to listen for the answer now. I'm so excited. I think I'm literally choking on my own spit. Okay, so let's listen to this answer. Because yes, Fishmom 2011, fundraising does put Dave out of exchange, and he knows it. 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 So let's listen to the answer that ChatGPT L. Ron Hubbard gave.
Let's clarify something, my friend. The tech is the tech. I laid down policy for a reason. I designed the organizational structure of Scientology with a clear and precise command chain so that it would be an enduring vehicle for the dissemination of tech. If anything is being done that circumvents the policies I established, well, that is simply suppressive. The removal of Pat Nanny Broker, if they were truly standing in the way of standard operation or not fulfilling their posts correctly, then that action may have had a reason behind it. However, if it was merely a political maneuver devoid of purpose or reason, well, that doesn't sit in accordance with how I have structured ethics tech. As for the issue of fundraising, now that's a different matter. I made it very clear in policy that the church is not to engage in money-grabbing schemes. I wrote, and it remains policy, that we produce and exchange in the delivery of services.
This is totally true. This is so scary accurate. Let's see, Old Fritz, wonder why Hubbard didn't want fundraisers. Surprising, really. I think, this is my opinion, I think that he thought that there was so much money to be made just selling Scientology services that you wouldn't need to. And he always pushed this idea of exchange, which is not a bad idea, right? You want to buy a car, you give money, you get the car. You want money, you work, you get money. It's this back and forth. And he talks a lot about how basically it can gum things up if you're not in exchange, if you are what is called out exchange, not exchanging with. In fact, I remember as a kid, I was like 12, 13 years old. And I was in the Oregon, Hawaii, and a Sea Org member came. Her name, you guys might know her. Y'all remember Renee McKinstry? Is she still around? Does anybody know? She was a registrar at the Advanced Organization of Los Angeles for like a million years. Anywho, I'm a kid. Renee comes to town and something was going on with her shoulder. And she asked me if I could give her, like rub her shoulder. And I did. And she gave me this lipstick. She said, oh, here, this is an exchange for the back rub, because you're not allowed to go out into the field, right? And not take something for nothing. Now, this was years ago. I was 13. I'm 54. Do the math. A lot has changed in Scientology, but it really shows you how, even though it was still a cult back then, how much worse it got in terms of being culty and the demands on the parishioners. And here is the crazy part of this story. The same Renee McKinstry that gave me the lipstick when I was a kid, that really made me think, wow, somebody is valuing something that I did. Sea Org members are cool. When I grew up and after I left the Sea Org, and because I was a ding dong, I continued in Scientology, and I went to see Renee as a registrar. And I remember hiding my credit cards in a different part of my purse because I knew what she was going to do. I walked up and she's like, okay, open your wallet and just let me see your cards that you have. This is like no boundaries. This is how basically they demanded money there. The same person, where years and years ago, it was about like this, little bit of an exchange. And now it's just, open your wallet and give me all your money. Little side note there, but if anybody remembers her and knows what happened, I'm curious about it. Renee McKinstry was her name back then. I will go back and scan the chat and look for it. Yeah, Mia, it was a lipstick. And I was 12, 13-year-old girl, so I thought it was kind of cool at the time. All right. So anywho, let's get back to this here. Let's get back to this response.
Exchange of Scientology technology for donations, sure, but always in exchange for services rendered. This business of fundraising merely for the sake of money without the delivery of valuable Scientology technology that is off policy violates the very essence of the fair exchange principle I outlined. It degrades the ethics of the organization, and the organization should never rely on such tactics. Any deviation from that is a violation of the trust I placed in the church as a vehicle to bring spiritual freedom to the people of Earth. Fundraising for anything other than services delivered, particularly overt attempts to amass funds for status or titles, is wrong. It's off source. Understand this. A true Scientologist knows that we are a product-driven organization, not a fund-driven one. The org thrives through delivery of auditing and training, not by amassing money for status or donations that aren't tied to real services. That's a bastardization of the original policy.
Oh my goodness. This is so accurate, you guys. Those are what the policies of Scientology say, as laid out by L. Ron Hubbard. Still a cult, I'm not saying it makes it better. I'm just trying to show you that David Miscavige, your days are numbered, because this information is going to get out to more and more people, especially Scientologists, especially second, third generation Scientologists who might go, who use technology and might start asking questions about Scientology. I love this so much, even though I don't fully understand the technology around it. I just know that I love it. And thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Scientology, Fluffer Squirrel, all of you who work on SPTV.SPACE, that site, all of the work that you do. Thank you so much for doing it, especially this, because I feel like it's just going to really stick it to Scientology. Ooh, lots of thunder. If I disappeared, that's because I lost power. Weird. I didn't know there was going to be rain today. Okay, let's jump over now to John Stamos, who we touched on the other day. And we were talking about how there was an article that came out because John Stamos avoided getting into Scientology. Well, there's more to the story. Of course there is. Hey, Phil Jones, if David Miscavige's days are numbered, I just hope it's a low number. Me too. How great would it be if it was the Scientologists themselves that overthrew Scientology? Now, in their mind, you know, they're looking more to, what do you call it when you like fix things? Reform. They're looking to reform. Many Scientologists would want to reform the organization. Now, me personally, I am not down with that. But I also believe that people should be allowed to believe what they want, as long as it's not interfering or harming and not continuing the abusive practices like auditing children about sexual stuff or making them listen to sexual stuff and all the things. You guys know what all the things are. So let's, it's Mike Sandoval. Shows you ChatGPT could be a cult leader. That is so true. Oh my God. Does it matter to you? Not to me. Can we rig ChatGPT to produce OT 9 and 10, which would end phenomena with leaving Scientology? So any level in Scientology on the bridge to total freedom has what's called an end phenomena. It's a thing you're supposed to reach, like, oh, you can communicate with everybody about anything, those kind of things. So the end phenomena of this would be people leaving Scientology. I kind of feel like it already is the end phenomena of operating Thetan level 8, because I'm sorry, man, but a lot of people who did the entire bridge to total freedom left Scientology. It is something. So anyways, let's get back to this John Stamos thing. I kind of digress. I'm getting so distracted by the chat, but here I am still looking at it. I just cannot stop with you people. I can't quit you. All right, John Stamos, here we go. So turns out John Stamos didn't just walk away and avoid Scientology, like originally, at least what I had read and seen. It turns out Scientology was like, no, man, we're going to swipe left on this one. You're too annoying. Now, this was before John Stamos was John Stamos. So, you know, don't get it twisted. If John Stamos was as famous as he went on to be, when he went into Scientology, this would be a different conversation. But he was like 17 years old. And he goes into the Celebrity Center at the Church of Scientology. He says, with me, I was in an acting class. There was a hot girl, which didn't we just talk about that too? I'm telling you, I know more people that got into Scientology through a romantic relationship. Note to self, add that to screening for any future potential partners that they are not involved in a cult. Okay, noted. So he was doing this acting class, right? And then the hot girl's like, hey, we're going to meet at this place on Hollywood Boulevard. They never say what it is. They never say it's Scientology. They always make it sound like, oh, this place, here's the address, just meet us there. And so he does. And he was working at his dad's restaurant at the time. And he goes to this thing. And he was interested because John Stamos was a fan of John Travolta and had seen John Travolta in Grease. And it's like, ooh, I want to do that. Well, it turns out they basically, here's the most recent picture of him there. As it turns out, John Stamos's response to some of the questions to kind of vet him were incredibly annoying. And Scientology was just, you know what, we just can't with you. You seem really iffy. And they passed. They passed on John Stamos, who went on to be one of the more famous celebrities of his time. I would say, you know, still is. I don't know what he's doing these days. Is he working still? I feel like he did something not that long ago. You know who I am happy to see working? Rob Lowe. Are you guys watching his show? I can't remember the name of it, but I watch it. I don't even know what streaming platform it's on. He's like this rich, smart guy. He has a lab. His son comes in. It's funny. I like it, but I like that he is still working. I think that's really cool. Susan says, luckiest day of John's life. That's right. That's right. Getting out of that. Let's see. Nisa says, I think Miscavige would look better in an orange jumpsuit, and prison would be good for him to be in jail instead of a mansion. I would agree. I wonder what kind of friends he would make and how that would work for him. A girl says, unless ChatGPT has pink eye and yellow teeth and hemorrhoids, it's not LRH. And if you don't know, that's basically the shape that L. Ron Hubbard was in, especially during the war, right? He said he had gone blind and he recovered because of Dianetics, and it turns out he had pink eye. Come on. Come on. Okay, let me grab here. Let's see. Sparknell says, if I saw the sign that says no child audits, I would understand what that means. I guess then I could stop and ask too. Yep, that's true. That is true. Oh, Carolyn, thank you so much. You like the top? It's kind of like it goes all the way down. I just been like, so hot, you know, the menopause. That's why I got the menopause fan going, and I can kind of almost do the Beyonce thing. I need to get one that's a little higher up, but you know what? Work in progress. Susan P., thank you for being a member for 6 months. How is that even possible? Oh my gosh. I feel like we just started the other day. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And if you guys want to become a member of the channel, there's a link in the description. If you're on an iPhone, that is the link you'll need. But on the channel page, it says join membership on there as well. And we have multiple different membership levels. And I'm getting my act together more as we move along to, you know, really provide more value for memberships. Right now, it's just you get my charming personality and some extra member content here and there, because let's be honest, I am not operating on all cylinders right now, but I'm going to get there. And I appreciate you guys sticking with me on it and still supporting the channel as members in that way. I will get it together eventually. I will. Let's see. Oh, Nancy says John Stamos' new gig, Chief Innovation Officer at an upstart streaming service. The actor will be a CIO of Zeem, a local streaming platform backed by Gray TV. Interesting. I don't know what a CIO is. Chief something officer? I don't know. Somebody tell me in the chat. I'll go back and look at that. Let's see. Oh, Fat Grammy says, I would give you 2 lipsticks for a shoulder rub. Fat Grammy, I would just give you a shoulder rub. Don't even need to give me lipsticks. This is the thing, you guys, in Scientology, when we grow up in it, this is a great example of L. Ron Hubbard and Scientology taking a basic truth and turning it into a complete and utter BS piece of crap. You should have a flow of exchange, but it is not like tit for tat. It's not like you give me $5, I give you $5. But that's kind of how it is in Scientology, because we're raised to believe, even as children, if we don't put in exchange, if we do not work and do what's asked of us, that we are out exchange and we will become criminals. So Scientology was always doing us a favor as kids, especially for those kids growing up in the Sea Org, putting them through manual labor. If you read Jenna Miscavige's book or you follow her channel here on YouTube, from a very young age, I think it was like 8 years old, she was hauling rocks, working on e-meters, doing all kinds of manual labor to make sure she didn't become a criminal. This is Scientology's idea of parenting, and it twists that whole concept up, and you don't end up having this idea like that you think it's not okay to have like no exchange, forgetting about the fact that, hey, sometimes we just need to help each other. Sometimes somebody needs help and we're going to give it to them only because they need it and for no other reason. We don't expect something back. That's unconditional love. That is unconditional acceptance. You're not looking for something back. You're not looking for, you want a certain reaction or praise for what you did even. Just, hey, you need help. I'm giving it to you. This is what we're doing. That is not a concept that you're raised up in Scientology. It's very much, oh, you want this, you need to do that. Now, at the same time, what I mean by them taking a little bit of a piece of truth and turning it into a piece of crap is because it is good for kids to learn and understand the value of $1 and do chores and allowance, because it teaches them how to manage money and prepare them for the world outside of the home. But in Scientology, it's taken to a completely new level of ridiculousness. And then you end up thinking that, well, my greatest purpose in life to be in exchange is to join the C organization as a Scientologist, as a young Scientologist. Do you see how much trickery there is there? How much of the mind bending you have to go through to make it all make sense? Because you can't. You just can't. Doesn't matter to me. Doesn't matter to you. Not to me. Comment: donations, drives literally make those that donate criminals. That is exactly what is believed in Scientology. And again, there's a little bit of truth in that. If you are only always receiving, and never giving, I mean, even a baby will smile and coo. And you know what I'm saying? Like, there's an exchange of a flow there of affinity and love. But children cannot be expected to exchange for every little thing. For, you know, I mean, my gosh, growing up, my mom used to tell us, like, well, we worked full time at 12 in our family business. And we were buying our own clothes. I had to pay for my own perms, people. Now, it was the 80s. Do not judge me. I saw a few eye rolls there. It was the 80s. And yes, I was getting perms because, as you can tell, my hair is as straight as a board. And we all want what we don't have. And my sister had curly hair. So I would get these perms and work at my parents' business. In the 80s, we were all there. Come on, where's my big hair girls at? Or guys, too, who had the big hair back in the 80s with the perms, right? And I paid for my own from the age of 12. It was, you know, it was just, that's what we worked so we could make money for ourselves, so we could halfway support ourselves. But it's too much. It's too much. You grow up not feeling like you're worthy or that you are loved without strings and conditions. I love you as long as you stay within these boundaries, is what it's like in Scientology. And let's be honest, other high control groups, and really in abusive situations as well. As long as you stay within this that I want, as long as you are being and acting like the person that I want you to be, then I will love you. And I'm only going to love you by doing Scientology with you. Or, you know what I'm saying? It's all tied into that. There's my big hair girl. Susan's right there. Ooh, Joe had a perm. You got a perm even. Feral Cheryl, you got the natural hair, big hair, no perm needed here. That's right. Oh, that's funny, Joe. My mom used to tell me to get a permanent, even though I had curly hair. I hated it. I wonder why she would. Oh, and the smell of perms. Don't even get me started. I don't miss it. Mia, I didn't know people were still doing perms in the 90s, Mia. I guess I do kind of remember. I kind of had gotten out of it. Well, I was in the C organization then early in the 90s, and, you know, nobody got time or the money to be go getting perms at that point. Oh my gosh. Yep. Spiral perms. Ooh, I can smell it. I can just smell it. I can smell it now. I'm glad so many of you experienced that along with me. Oh, Catherine says, I literally did not own a brush for the entire decade. Wasn't that the way? You just needed a teasing comb. That's all you needed. And your hairspray, your Aquanet. You need your teasing comb and your Aquanet. You were good to go in the 80s and into the 90s. Tina in the last 20 says the 80s big hair had nothing on the 60s beehive hair. True. And you know, that beehive hair looked like it was harder to do. I don't know. I always looked at it and thought it looks cool, but I don't think I could ever do that. Mock, thank you for being a member for 5 months. Appreciate it. There's a picture of my mom with a perm with my brother and his afro structure and me in her belly in the 80s. Never needed a perm though. Oh, I love that. Oh, Kestrel, crimping irons. Aren't those making a comeback though? I feel like I've been seeing that on the TikTok. Oh my goodness. Crimping irons. Stasha, I still get perms or I have no body in my hair. I didn't know they could do like non-super curly perms. I wonder if they can do that. Stroke of genius. So much hairspray. We broke Australia. Did you really? Did they have a problem with that in Australia with all of the hairspray? Big hair, no perm. My mom is white but had hair like Tina Turner. Oh my goodness. I could talk about perms all day, people. My 80s school class photo is hilarious. All perms. I get it. I get it. Oh my gosh, I forgot about this. Twyla, when the lighter was for melting the eyebrow, the eyeliner to make it into eyeliner. For melting the eyebrow pencil to make it into eyeliner. That's right. That was like middle school for me, right? You'd light it and then it would melt and you could like put the eyeliner on. Oh my gosh, yes. Oh, thank you so much for being a member for 6 months as well. That means I think you've been here since the beginning. I appreciate it. And you have a great day too. Olivia, I blew my natural curly hair straight, then permed it to make it curly. Nice, nice. Oh man, okay, so much hairspray in Australia, the kangaroos all stand up. Oh my goodness. Okay, you guys, this is hilarious. If you are on the replay, jump in the comments. I'm going to go scroll through those again also later. I'm hoping today, in fact, you know what I might do, you guys? If it's, oh, darn it, it just started raining. I was going to go do a little walk and talk. I just need to get outside. I'll see if it's raining or not. But in a little bit, probably before noon, I just want to hop on and just do a little bit more of a personal update. You know, I guess like to try to keep those separate from the recap with what's going on, talk a little bit. So tune into that. I'm probably going to do it maybe even right after this if it's not raining, but keep an eye out. I got to go find out what's happening outside and I cannot see it right now. I so appreciate all of you for being here. I can hear the thunder right now. So maybe I'll have some tea and sit on the couch, but we got some catching up to do, people. We got some catching up to do. So I hope you join me. In the meantime, I hope everybody gets out and you have an amazing cult-free day.